privacy, as well as we will be streaming it onto our Facebook group and for agent locators, as well as it'll be up on YouTube. So for any of you guys that have missed any of these sessions in the past, for some of you, this might be your very first session. All of these are uploaded to the Agent Locator YouTube channel. Typically, she'll either do it, she typically does it tomorrow, so Friday, at the very latest Monday, that it is up there so that you guys can see. We will be running this series again because this is the last series. For those of you who have been right from the beginning, I love your dedication. We'll probably, I'm anticipating perhaps starting this back up in April. I know that with March just around the corner here, you guys, a lot of people are busy, our attendance is dropping, but also it'll be March break and all of that stuff that kind of goes in each province that we work with here in Canada or even into the United States. We all kind of stagger as far as what those dates are. So probably best that we kind of just skip the month of March and then start back up in April. It'll be the exact same series, just so you guys do know. It'll just be starting from square one. So you can always rejoin it again and watch it all and learn again, or not, entirely up to you. So open Q&As, you guys. So anything to do with the CRM system, whether it's, you know, a how-to, understanding filters, anything like that. If you guys need help with your websites on how to do anything in there, don't be shy, because I guarantee if you have a question, there's others in here that are going to benefit from the answer of that. So you guys do have the chat, you do have the Q&A as well that you can post those questions, as well as if you feel like it's easier for you to actually speak your question and have a little discussion, by all means, just raise your hand. I'll be happy to turn on your audio so that you can chat about it. But you guys are very quiet. Don't be shy. I know there's got to be something that perhaps you either missed on one of the previous sessions, or maybe you just need a recap from a previous session on how to do something in here. Now, raise of hands, just as we're kind of getting started here, how many of you guys have found success in your CRM so far, meaning that you've either transacted or have somebody that you're doing showings with, or at least signed an agreement with, or it could just be success that you've established, you know, some really great relationships just through conversation with these leads that, you know, it's just a matter now of keeping that conversation going with your follow-ups. So I've got a couple of people raising their hands in there. So that's awesome. That's awesome. So you guys just have to trust the system. For many of you guys, it can get discouraging for sure. Consistency is key. Okay, so just make it a part of your daily routine that you're going to jump into your system for at least 30 minutes. It's not a lot to ask. 30 minutes is better than no minutes. If you have more time, even better. But that's going to keep your head above the game. You're going to stay, you know, on top of everything that you got to do. You're going to manage all your calls. You're going to keep those connections going. And at the end of the day, if we're just doing follow-ups and check-ins, and that's kind of where we're at, if somebody does end up transacting and it's not with you, at least you can look in the mirror and say, you know what, I did everything I could. Can't win them all. I did my best. But if we don't do anything, or we only call a lead a couple times and deem them as being garbage or not interested, then we have to kind of look in the mirror and look at ourselves and say, what could I have done better in those situations? So John is asking, you know, what to do with the lead that says they aren't moving, just looking, i.e. status, feature, follow-up, etc. So a lot of leads do come in here just out of curiosity, right? So we all do it. You guys are in real estate, so you have easier access to the information. But of course, through all you guys, I have some access to some information as well. But just like any other consumer out there, when one of my neighbors' houses goes up for sale, I'm going online. I know realtors, so I go onto realtor.ca because I know that site exists. And I check to see, I'm curious. I want to know what that house is listed for. Now, the average consumer out there does not remember the realtor.ca URL. right? We live and breathe realtor.ca. We'll probably go to our grave remembering that URL. It's embedded in ourselves. But the average consumer does not transact and work with real estate every day, so they don't know that. They don't remember it. So they're turning to Google, right? So they're turning to Google for those searches. So a lot of them, it is 100% curiosity that they landed there to just get some answers. Some of them are definitely just browsing and wanted to check out what's actually happening with the market. So some, if they do have a house to sell, John, you can still try to offer them, you know, an evaluation. There's no strings attached. Like I'm not going to try to push you to sell, but then you can actually see kind of where your house is kind of situated in today's market. Now, you may also have that ability, and I can quickly check, to send out the sold listings, right? So if you have the ability to send somebody sold listings in and around their home, that's a way that you're going to be able to nurture that lead. Over time, you're going to be able to see the listings that they're seeing, and then, you know, associate your follow-ups with that and having that as a discussion and their thoughts on those listings and what they're selling for. But again, a lot of your leads are just kind of curious, but I would do a check-in on those people every 6 months. If you guys have the check-in tags, check in on them every 6 months to see how they're doing. It's keeping that relationship going and keeping yourself top of mind. There's no pressure, right? We're just letting them know that we're here whenever they are ready. But it's giving them the information that they're obviously seeking, with no strings attached, and then just following up to let them know that they're there, that you're there, essentially to help them or answer any questions that they may have with respect to that. We have, so Michael says he's got several solid leads so far. That's awesome. That's awesome. Michelle's asking, is it a good idea to send the app link to a lead that you've spoken with? Absolutely, send them that link. So what we're finding is that those individuals that are downloading the Home Locator app are actually using it 80% more than they are actually looking at the emails. So even though they're getting the emails and they have the app, they're actually turning to the app to look at those listings. Now, another great thing about that app as well is that it's a given that some of these leads register on different platforms or even on different websites within the Agent Locator platform, right? So whether they're doing that all in the same day, trying to find what, you know, doesn't exist in some cases, or it could be over the course of years that they end up signing up all over the place. Once that lead downloads your app and it's associated with your account, they're always getting it's through your account that they're looking at that app from, right? It's always your information that's on those listings for them to reach out to you for. So absolutely, I would do that. And part of the first step as well, Michelle, is again, with the app, it's asking them for their address when they are signing up on that app. So every lead that you get that signs up on that app, you're getting their address, which is a bonus, right? But you're also getting that lead to get listings from you automatically for those homes listed around their home. So they'd get the same type of home that they would have and in the city, and then it's a 300-meter radius around their address that they entered. So they would get any new listing that populates, like any house that lists within that radius, they get that listing, that alert. Now, if you guys have access to the sold listings, that lead would also start getting the sold listings automatically as well. So it's definitely a true benefit. Hands down, I would 100% encourage your leads to download the app. It also, you can educate them that what's great is that it's dynamic in the sense that if they're driving around one day and kind of just doing and checking out the listings in a certain neighborhood, they're able to easily just pull up the app and those listings will be right there showcased on the map. So they can actually browse through the listings as they're driving through those neighborhoods. So the address, Michelle, is when they enter it into the system itself. So when they go onto the app and they plug their address in, they're going to have two searches associated. I'll just open up this one. It doesn't have the searches, but you would actually see the two searches, or one, depends on what board you are. If you're Treb, you're going to see the two, the active and the sold, and the address is actually right there on that. So instead of it saying they're at their their email address right here, it would actually say their address right there. Yeah, so if you send an app to someone and it shows they didn't activate it, you can just let them know, hey, just wanted to check and see if were you able to download the app, okay? Right, because you'll be able to see when they are, of course, on the lead, you'll be able to see if they're active, when they're active, and then of course any of their activity that would typically show if they are actioning listings through those emails is going to show in this activity section. Okay, so you're still able to track their activities and behaviors on there. Navdeep is asking, when you set up a birthday emails, do you have to for each lead, or can you set it up for all past clients in bulk? So you would have to do it for each lead individual, simply because you have to specify in the more details their birthday, right? So you have to be able to specify their birthday right here. Unfortunately, you can't do that in the mass action. And then the email though, so if you wanted to set the email, you can definitely create an email template for a birthday that you could use, so that when you're in here and you're selecting that you want to send an email out on that day, you already have a template that you're just selecting, and then let's, that one, and then save it. So every year on their birthday, they would get that same email from you on there. So Michelle's saying, I know the sold listings are going to spam. So just tell them to mark it as safe if you talk to them. It shouldn't be going. So we have about a 99% positive spam rating out there. So majority of emails should be going to the inbox. So if you're having a conversation with someone, they can't find those emails. Again, remember, they're only going to get a listing if something sells within, by default, that 300-meter radius. So if nothing's selling within that 300-meter radius, they're not getting any listing emails. But if you know that has been sent to them and they can't find it, you can push that email out. So just force it out while you're on a call with somebody. Say, hey, I just sent it to you now. Check to see if you find it. Check your spam. Sometimes they like to wind up in there. These platforms like Google, Yahoo, Hotmail are smart. If they weren't actioning things, it just takes it upon itself to throw it into spam. So then at that point, you can suggest that they mark it as safe, so that moving forward, none of those emails do go into their spam folder. So Janet is saying, I just started a lead gen site and have yet to set a dollar amount for Google for buyers or sellers. What is the average amount everyone spends monthly to get started that provides a return? So every area is different for sure, because it all comes down to the cost per lead. Now, when you look at it into a perspective, is you really only want to bite off as much as you know you can chew. Okay, so some of us have deeper pockets and we're like, just throw all this money at it. But then ultimately you don't have the time to actually work all the leads that you're generating, which isn't really proving to be beneficial. You get more opportunity, 100%, you get more opportunity in there. But the average, and a lot of people can even speak up if they care to, a lot of our clients come in at the baseline, somewhere between 250 to 500. That's where they're going to come in. But if you look at a 1% conversion rate, okay, so 1%, that's 100 leads is one deal. Okay. Now you can definitely do better than that at all. That's just an average out there. It's all relevant to what you're doing in the system. But again, you want to make sure that you have time to be able to jump in daily and nurture these leads to gain that success. Otherwise, there's going to be a bunch of people that you're got in your system, but you aren't able to action properly, and or you're too late. You call them, they're already working, or they already bought, and things like that. So if anyone does, want to pipe up, use the chat and let Janet know what they're spending. But I think for an individual agent, if it's just yourself, I'd say 500 to 700 at most is what I would spend on an individual agent, and that's allowing yourself, a good 30 minutes to an hour a day minimum that you would want to allocate to be able to effectively work that database and being consistent with it. All right. So Lena's asking, how can I filter my search to the seller leads only? So there's a couple different ways that you can definitely do that. And it also depends on how that lead came in. There's so many different factors here. But you do have the different lead types. So as you can see here, there's a lead type home seller, home buyer, and so on, right? So any lead that's coming in off of a HomeWorth landing page is going to be a seller lead, okay? So or a home seller or seller lead. So you can filter by lead type, right? Where you're going to find a differentiating factor is as well is if you have somebody that came in as a buyer but is also a seller. Okay, so that you can either tag your sellers as a homeowner. You know that they're going to be, they potentially have a listing to sell, so tagging them. I believe we have one for a situation for homeowner that you can throw on them to be able to filter those people, letting them know. You can also create your own lead type as well. So if let's say after you're speaking to that person, you're like, hey, we also have a house that we're going to need to sell, or they're both buyer and seller, you can create that lead type. So you can add, and I might have it in here, so buyer and seller, right? So you can create that or call it whatever you want to for your own reference, whatever is going to be best suited for you. But then you can change it on those individuals. So let's say if this person here was also that buyer and seller, you can change it down here. The lead type is the buyer and seller, wherever that one was, buyer and seller. And so when we go back, you'd be able to see that information, so buyer and seller, and then you can filter that. So whether you want to filter by lead type, so lead types is, so if we were to select, say I want my buyer and sellers, my home sellers, and there might be just a seller one. I can apply that and see out of these leads, I've got 16 people through their lead type I know are potential sellers. Okay, so that's one way that you can do it for sure. The other would be through the tag, right? So if we go tag, and I would usually do any if I'm just doing something generalized, and then your situation of homeowner, so I've got two, so I'm just going to select both of them, and then apply that filter. So I've got 4 people in here that I've tagged as a homeowner, which could also indicate that they're a seller as well. So whether you call it homeowner or they're a seller, whatever you want to, the lead type is a great place to, especially if you're generating seller leads. They're likely coming in as a lead type home seller or seller for you to easily find in there. Let me just see. So Navdeep, can you go over the Facebook Instagram campaign and how to do that? That's a full session on its own, Navdeep. So it's not, it's a full session on its own to do that. But generally speaking, what you're doing is, and I can definitely send you guys. So if you guys go to, again, on YouTube, it is on YouTube. That full session is available on YouTube for you guys. But if you go into your training.agentlocator.ca, okay, so if you go to this website and you go to view all courses, or you can just scroll down, you got this getting started with Facebook. Okay, so here is your step-by-step tutorial. So, right from square one of creating a business page, right? So creating your first book ad, setting up any remarketing through Facebook, all of that stuff. So it does break it down step by step for you on here. That's one resource for you guys to look at. But basically, when you're doing that Facebook integration, you're connecting your Facebook accounts. Right, so you have 2 different accounts. I have just a couple accounts in here. So you're adding those accounts and you're setting the permissions as to which pages you want to have connected to this system. From here is when you would set up your integration based on the form that you are using on Facebook. Right, so each form you use for each ad should be different. Do not use the same form for every single ad. Each ad needs to have a different form because you wouldn't want to use the same form for, let's say, Oshawa buyers that you would for Oshawa sellers, because that lead, you're going to want to differentiate what happens in the system when they fill out that form, right? So When they fill out the form, you're then telling the system what happens. So if I go in here, for example, I selected the page I ran that ad from. I selected the form that I created specifically for that ad. And then I'm telling the system what happens when somebody fills out that form. Like when they come into my system, what do I want to have happen? So in this case, I was marking them as home buyers because they're signing up for listing alerts, essentially. I'm creating a source, so you can do that here, where you create a source so that you can associate specifically how this lead came into your system. And then you can set up the criteria. So what city would you want them to get listings from? You can add multiple cities. They're comma separated, no spaces. The type of home or homes that you would like them to receive. If you wanted to throw a tag on them, you could. You'd have to pre-create the tag, so you can do that on any lead. You also can do that over here. And then the website that they would essentially get those listings through, which is your automated site. And then the community or neighborhood. So if you really wanted to be specific about where these listings are within that city, you can do that. Just remember, these are TREB specific communities, not necessarily what the public, general public refers to that area as. These are TREB communities. And then you would specify the price range, right? So what's the minimum price? What's the up price? If you do send listings right away on here, they're going to get that listing email as soon as they sign up. So there's no delay. They get it instantly. As soon as they hit submit on Facebook, they've pretty much got those listings in their inbox. So it's really fast. If we select no, that delays the listings for 20 minutes. Okay, so they don't get any listings for 20 minutes. This allows you, so where you would want to do this as just an example is, let's say you were running a campaign advertising a listing and you're trying to get leads for that listing. So the first thing you would want to do before they get any generic listings is to actually get them what they asked for, right? So that 20 minutes, you can auto assign a campaign based on that source, so that the first action, as soon as they sign up, they're getting an email, like an autoresponder almost 1 minute later, with the listing information. So an email, whether you have a link in there to the website with that listing information, or you post it all in there for them, entirely up to you. But then also let them know that you've set them up to receive similar priced homes in that area, should this one not be a good fit for them. And then so you're letting them know that you've done that. And then you can build out a full-on campaign. If you're running a campaign and your idea is to just generate leads, you do not want to get them listings, then you are not filling out anything to do with listing criteria. So anything, so you wouldn't even put the lead gen site, you're just kind of putting all of these are blank. You're just putting this type and the source is basically all you're doing, and maybe a tag if you wanted to tag them. And then they're not going to be set up to receive anything from you at that point. But it's a full session to go from start to finish. Just on that topic alone. So we unfortunately can't do that on this open Q&A session, just because it would eat up the whole session just on that one topic. But yes, there is the webinar on YouTube that you can fully watch, and then do turn to the training site, because it does definitely have some resources for you. So Jane is, I'm new to this. Do you know if I have my CRM so I can work with your meeting? Yes, you do have access. So anyone that is new in here, as soon as you signed up with Agent Locator, as soon as we basically ran your billing and opened your account from on our end, from being a lead to a client, you would have received an email that says, "Welcome to Agent Locator." A lot of people overlook that email. In that email is your CRM logins. Okay, so if you source out that email, Jane, you will have that information. I'll see if I can find your account here quickly, just to be able to, I'm going to send it to you right away here. So you should have that in your inbox. If it's not there, check your spam, because I just resent it to you. Bruce is asking, if setting up a search and you want to put everything except condo apartments, for example, is there a not button like the MLS has? yes and no. I'm not sure for that one. So let me just see. There is some for other filters. I'm not sure if there is for that one. So let's just take a look here. And it does depend on your board as well, how things are set up, but let's just see. So no, it's only equals. So sometimes you'll see it excludes. So for example, if I do community, if I wanted everything in Toronto except these communities, I can do that, but for whatever reason, I can't do it for the property type. You, in that case, just select the property types that you want to have and leave out the ones that you don't obviously want to have in there. So Michelle is saying, I have leads that have told me that they're working with a realtor, but they're still active on my website. And let them, they're just not hurting you to have them in there. So what I have guided individuals, so one of the fastest ways to get you guys off the phone is to tell you they have an agent. And the average person, you know, how we just talked about this yesterday on the live dials. The average person knows so many realtors. Like any of you out there, go ask somebody, go ask a friend, go ask your neighbor, how many realtors do you know, just out of curiosity? The average person is going to know 6 to 12 realtors. So if somebody was to come up to me right now and ask if I had an agent, I could easily say yes, easily, because I know so many of y'all, right? I also, like outside of this, know very many realtors as well. So why wouldn't I have an agent? I know so many of them, right? Your leads are going to do the same thing. It's also a way to try to be like, hey, don't bother me, that sort of thing. So what I do, and again, speak to your brokers and what their thoughts are, but what I have guided others to do is to tag those people, right? So we're going to tag them that they have an agent. So we call those people actually future opportunities. We're not calling those or missed opportunities or losses. They're future opportunities. So future opportunity, they have an agent, okay? You can still do soft check-ins on these people. Make sure everything's okay. Some people will refer to an agent as being just the person that's sending them listings. They've never actually talked to them or maybe talked to them once. It's not their agent. They're just doing listings from somebody. All right, so everyone's idea of what their agent is going to differ for sure. You can ask questions back if it's on a call. That's awesome. Michelle, who are you working with? I'd be happy to share some insight on what I've been sending you so far. You know, work collectively to get you into a new home, right? Like you care. Sometimes when you ask a question back, they'll get caught off guard, and you'll tell by how they respond to you if they're being honest or not. But if you have somebody that has this, and I might have a filter for this, I didn't. So basically, what I would do for somebody that has an agent, okay, or has specified to you that they have an agent, is to pull up those people or create a filter. Has any of the tags, agent, has an agent, I'm going to use 2 of them because I have both of them, and was not contacted, so let's do, was not contacted by phone or let's say SMS, and it's all leads within the last 30 days, okay, and then was last active, or this is activity, is all leads within the last 30 days. Okay, so then you have these people. There's one person in here, okay, that was active within the last 30 days that we have not texted or called within that 30-day period. Do a quick check-in on them. For one, somebody, I'm not telling you to steal business from anyone. I'm offering you to offer customer service. Okay, hey Crystal, just want to check in on you. I know that you've been looking listings on here for about a month now. I just want to make sure everything's okay still with the homes that you've been receiving. Is there any changes you want to make to the criteria at all? Let me know. I'd be happy to help. Right? We're not pursuing them. We're offering the customer service. Again, you may be offering more customer service to that person than their agent has even bothered to, or who they think their agent is. Again, a lot of them don't have agents, but they just say they have agents. I'm not saying, a lot of buyers are liars out there. So again, just doing a customer service role, just checking in, making sure everything's good on your part. You never know where your next opportunity comes from. right? They may, be stuck with their agent, but you're doing such a good job at doing your customer service that you might get a referral from them for someone else. So everyone to their own, do what you feel most comfortable for sure. Now, when it comes to the whole agency questions, a lot of you guys want to ask it. Do not ask that question directly. It's highly encouraged that you don't. Again, it comes back to the whole, everyone knows so many agents, so it's easy for them to say yes. Okay, doesn't mean that they're actively engaged in contract, working with an agent or anything like that. So if you want to ask that question, ask it indirectly. Have you guys only been looking online so far? Have you gone to go see any houses yet? If they've gone to see houses, that's when you start to dig a little bit deeper. If they're only been looking online, then you're probably pretty safe in that scenario there. All right? How long have you guys been looking for? About 6 months. You then for sure know you're safe, right? So it's asking those questions indirectly. A lot of people ask those hard questions directly, right? It's the same with the financing. Just curious, how did you guys come up with this price? Do you know what your mortgage payment would look like on a home of this value? Those are indirect questions that you're basically getting to the point. Have you spoken to anyone about a mortgage or mortgage approval? Right? But it sounds a little bit more sincere, you care, and then now you're able to jump in and offer that solution and educate them into why, right? So it just comes to those indirect questions. It's a softer approach because a ton of your competition is asking the hard direct questions, and then it's like a survey that we're asking these individuals. Bruce is saying, when setting up a Toronto search in Scarborough and someone is looking at E5, for example, how do we do that? I go to district and try to add, okay. So it recognizes it, but it does it in a funny way, okay? So I'll show you exactly how to do that. So let me just find, let's try this one, and we'll edit this one. And let's just take that off. And let's just add a filter for district equals, and then you're just going to do it this way, Toronto E5, enter, apply. Okay, so it's always Toronto, a space, and then what the district is. That's how you would do that one. It'd be nice if there was just a drop down. 100%, or if you're just starting to type it, it just kind of populates. I can put that feature request in for you guys. I know there's a lot of things that we're kind of focusing on with these searches and changing things up, so I can definitely see about that one for sure, because it's very common that gets brought up. So Ryan is asking, so Ryan, there is no topic for today, so you're not really off topic, by the way. It's just total open Q&A, so we're going to be jumping all over the place here. So how do I add my client database and send them drip campaigns? Awesome. So we actually, I think we did that last session, actually. So you are going to do that through a lead import, okay? So when you're doing a lead import, you're basically taking a CSV file, and you will, so up here you have a question mark, okay? So there is a tutorial, you can click in here, you can watch the videos. It's pretty straightforward when you're doing it. Now, when you go and add a new lead import, and I wonder if I can pull back all messages, let's just see, and to kind of pull it back. So when you're mapping your stuff, just so that, and I wonder if it opens it or what it happens when I do this, nothing. No, I just have it just gives me the download file. So here when you're mapping it, so when you're importing your leads, you will have choices that you can make. Okay, so do you want to, you're mapping, where is their first name going and associated with it. This system is pretty straightforward when you're doing that. And then you're going to have, if you want to apply a specific tag to them when they come in, you can create a tag on the fly as well. Do you want to associate any notes that manually you're adding to all these people on import? And then on import, you can assign them directly onto a campaign. So if you have a campaign, you would then select that campaign through the import that you would want them to be associated to. If you want them to have an account on the lead gen system, it doesn't set them up for listings, it just creates their user account basically on that automated site. And then they'll get the listing, they'll get the activation email rather, that they can then go in and register onto the website if they wanted to. And then of course you can assign who these leads are going to on import if they belong to a specific agent on the team. So once you do your import, it's basically you're uploading your CSV, right? So I'm just going to browse. I'm going to, I don't even know what this is, so I'm just going to go right import one. There we go. I don't know what's on here. And then going next. And then this is where you're mapping. So email, you'd select email over here. First name over here, last name. So you're just kind of pulling where you'd want that to go. I'm not going to map anything. Oh, it's going to make me map something. So we'll just go email, address. Okay, so now that I've mapped that, I'm just going to go next. This is when do you want to give them a lead gen site? Yes or no? Okay. So this is essentially that. So kind of they'll get the lead activation email. There's nothing that you can change other than that, unfortunately. You can make, I think, a little slight edits to this email. Anything in brackets though is shortcode. Do not touch that. But you can, I guess, supposedly make some changes to this email if you wanted to. Now you can go next from here. This is who you want to assign, who's the main agent on these leads on import. You're going next. Do you want to add a tag that already exists in your system, or do you want to create a tag to add to these people? Then you go next. Any notes you want to associate on all these leads on import, and then you can select the campaign. So if you've already got that campaign created, you can select that campaign, hit assign, and then go next. And then it's basically kind of letting you know, you kind of like a overview of everything, and then you go import on here. Okay, but yes, you can assign a campaign automatically to all those people. Now, if you did an import and forgot to do the whole campaigning thing, you can definitely do a mass ad. So how you would do that is typically when it comes to the date of import. So let's say you had several different sources, whether it's, you know, whatever it may be on that import, because that import has leads from all over the place, whether they're referrals, open houses, door knocking, whatever. So maybe you have different sources selected. If not, it's all going to say lead import. Okay, if you never selected a source for those leads, it's going to say lead import. But what you can do is actually find those leads based on date. Okay, so if you did registration and then just do today. So if you did that import today and you're like, shoot, I forgot to assign that campaign, you would just apply that filter and just select. So let's just do last 5 days. Nope, this month. Okay, so then you would select the ones that you know are from that campaign. They didn't come from your website as a lead, as example. So whether you're selecting the whole column and going page to page to select and deselect leads, and then you can apply and mass assign a campaign to your leads there. So if you missed a step on import, you can definitely do it afterward as well on there. So it's basically filtering them out to the registration probably is today or whatever day you did that on. It just really depends, but you can select them all and then a mass assign if you didn't do it on the, you know, on that step on import. So Morris, okay, so Sabrina is asking, I'm new and just recently started as assistant. How do we send the app? Is Morris Marketing and Agent Locator similar? No, Morris Marketing is not similar to Agent Locator. So they are like marketing as far as print marketing, email marketing, things like that. We are lead conversion. So every system and any provider out there, we all have our strengths. Okay, so there's no system out there that is going to have every single tool you could imagine to make your life easy. Maybe one day there will be, but we all have those strengths, right? We all aim to be that platform. You know, I imagine, I know Agent Locator, we want to be that only solution you need. It takes time getting there, though, right? Building all this stuff out. But no, we're not the same. So you can send the app a couple different ways. Okay. So on your lead itself, so if we open up any lead, if you're talking to somebody, and let's say you want the app link, you just get that. Every lead has their own unique app link. Okay. So you can't just send a generalized app yet. They are looking, and they're actually pretty close. I think Otto, we had a company meeting yesterday. I believe he's hoping in March, sometime in March, I think is the anticipated date, that it's actually going to be an open app, which means that you guys will be able to advertise an app that's connected to your system. And anyone that downloads the app to look at properties is now a lead for you to work with. So that's a plus side for that. But for now, these leads only have a unique app identifier based on your system. Okay, so this is that you can copy it, whether you're sending it in a text or email, you can. And that's on like a one-on-one situation where you want to send that person the app because you're just talking to them. Now you do have a couple other options. So the other options is you can send them through mass, right? So you can send a mass app download through the SMS, okay, or through the email. This doesn't give them any information about the app, just to download the app, okay? So if we have yet to have any communications with our leads in any way, shape, or form, so let's say you just did an import and the leads you imported have been sitting in another system or haven't been doing anything with them for months, and all of a sudden you send them a mass message to do something, you may experience a higher unsubscribe rate because they don't even know why you're sending them, where this came from, and they think it might be spam. Okay, so just be careful on that if you've yet to have any, and there's like an old import of old stale leads that you've yet to talk to. So just be cautious. For some of you, it's process of elimination. You're okay. I've got 15,000 leads. I'm okay if 300 of them unsubscribe. That whatever, it is what it is. Now you will have in your campaign section, some of you, if you guys don't have these, you can email support to help you, but you will have campaigns for that. So there's a campaign for the home locator app somewhere. So there's 2 of them. Okay, so when you do it, we have 2, because some of you have access to sold listings based on your boards. Some of you don't. So we have sold and with solds and without solds. So you can actually take this campaign, and whether you want to use it as is or edit, and apply it and assign it to all those leads. This is going to send them text messages and emails associated with the app. But the emails actually give value. So they're kind of giving them a reason why they would want to download the app, rather than just saying, here's an app link, download it, right? It gives them a bit more insight as to the value behind it. So I'll kind of give you a little bit of peek at that. Giving them the ability to browse on the go. These are really spaced out for whatever reason, but you can of course go in there and edit it. I'm not sure why I did that. So it tells you it's easier way to browse, right? So they get push notification, map and list view, the explore view. So it gives them a little insight. It also includes a video that Anna had created on some of the main features, follow-up text messages, the next level property search, different things like that just kind of educates them as to why they would want to. Now you can create your own templates using the app link. So this is a short code for the app link that would automatically pull that lead's unique URL based on who you're sending it to. So it automatically converts this short code into the receiver's specific app link, if that makes sense. So if you wanted to create an SMS template, for example, when you're adding a new template on here, you have those lead map, there, you just drag and drop. These are all your short codes, right? So anything pertaining to the lead's name. So this would automatically pull the lead's first name, their last name, their phone, their email, that sort of thing. You have your agent short codes. So, whether, usually you're using sender data, but not always, but most of the time. Being able to end it with your first name or your first and last name, that sort of thing. You can also include their activities. So, hey, would you like to view properties in Most Viewed City more conveniently? Here's a link to download the Home Locator app to browse listings on the go. And then you include the link, right? So there's different creative ways, and you can, of course, mass text that out. You can create emails with those short codes as well. So you can get creative in there to encourage people to use it. You are able to see who's downloaded the app. Okay, so if you're sending a mass message to people, we probably don't want to keep sending it to the people that we've known to download the app, essentially. So you'll be able to see, like, has downloaded, has not downloaded, all time, sort of the 226 lead, all of them have not downloaded the app. So if I'm doing a mass communication, I know I'm safe to send it to all these people. Now, yeah, so that's kind of how you would do it, because anyone that has downloaded the app, they're not going to populate into this list. Okay, so it's a little bit different in that sense of things. So those are just a couple ideas for you to be able to do it. So whether you're selecting and sending one of these, again, these are just given the map links. There's no weighted value in those communications as to why they would want to. This is a heads up. You can create your own templates and send mass text messages or emails to those individuals. You can create your own if you care to. You can also mass assign that campaign to all these people to encourage them to download that app as well. We are working on a feature as well, which I believe it's going to be in our next push. I believe it is the ability so that when somebody downloads the app, that we can get those campaigns to automatically stop. Okay, so if they download the app, a tag will be added to the lead letting you know that they've downloaded the app, but the tag as well is being utilized as the stopping clause to stop that campaign because we don't need it to go any further. So that, I believe, is in our next release of updates, which will be in a couple weeks, I believe, from now. Lena's asking, how can I add my website integration? Not sure what you mean about that one, Lena. Not sure what you mean about that one. Can you just kind of maybe expand on that? The Etobicoke search is through you would do that through the communities. Okay, so you can do it in one of two ways. Actually, you can do it through communities. You can also do a Polygon search. So let me just go here. So this is also addressing the question as well with respect to where do you see the address on those people that fill their address in on the app or on any kind of page. It shows up right here for you, just so you guys can see that right there. So active. So if I wanted to, I'm just going to remove all this stuff so you guys can see. If, let's say, I wanted to do it, you would do it through either, if there's districts associated specifically through Etobicoke, right? So you would do the Toronto W, whatever, I believe it's W, I don't know, whatever those are for the district of Etobicoke. So just make sure that it's the Toronto space, whatever the district is, hit enter, apply. The other is through the communities, right? So if we do community equals, and then we're, Etobicoke, West Mall, I know is one of them, Mimico, adding on those communities that create Etobicoke. The other would be to do a polygon or a radius. So a polygon. With the polygon, basically, you're just going to drop your markers, basically. So I'm just going to scroll out wherever the heck Etobicoke is. So whatever you want it to be. So I don't even know the actual boundaries of Etobicoke, but you would just drop your markers. So you can draw a very unique shape if you wanted to. So if this was Etobicoke, you just draw your little polygon around there, and then you hit apply. And then when you apply that filter, you're going to be able to see all the listings that are now in that specific area that I outlined. Okay. So Brian is asking, for sold listings, do I need to alter the frequency that the client receives, or can they? They should be able to through the website, but let me just let me test that theory out here for you and see. So you can see they got the new sold listings. So I'm just going to go in and view this. So when they view more, you can access your user's account in here, and subscriptions. So I don't believe that they can change the frequency. Yeah, they can't change the frequency on here. You have to. You have to do that through the back end. Sold listings, it really depends. If they're in a high turnover area, then they're going to get more frequent emails, of course. If they're not in a high turnover area, or depends how big you made that radius, I suppose, they're not going to get, because they're only getting an email if something sells that matches all that criteria. And again, you have that ability to really narrow down these listings, right? So it does the radius naturally. So you do also have the ability to set the sold date, right? So that they're getting, so if you want it to be less than 90 days, especially on that first push, they're only getting it. But if you only want them to get them, like, the system will check daily, they're not getting an email daily, but you can change it. So if you want them to just get an email monthly about that, or if you want it once a week or whatever, it's entirely up to you. But yes, you would have to change that frequency on here. So Ravinda is asking, how do I send a pre-listing CMA by email? You would have to do that as an attachment. So you'd have to have that CMA already created somewhere, converted into a PDF, and attach it to an email. So you can attach it to any email here. Now your CMA, well, it depends on the leads. I don't know what the circumstances are there, but we're trying to get in front of these people. Right? If we just give somebody everything they're looking for, there's no reason for them to contact us or speak to us. We just gave them everything they asked for. Right? So you gotta practice withholding some information. So there's a reason for them to talk to you. I don't know this individual circumstance. I'm just kind of putting that out there. We don't want to give them everything because we can, because the minute we give them everything, there's no reason for them to use us. They've already gotten what they needed out of us. So how to properly set up sold listings to send for a specific building and only when a property sells. Well, if it's sold, it'll only send them something when something sells. Okay, they're not going to just get all the listings every single day. It's only when something sells that they would get that. So you could definitely do that through the address. So the address of the building. Okay, so anything that matches that address, they would then get the listings for that specific address. Hopefully that answers that question for you. Perfect. So Lena's asking, how can I insert pictures and a link for a pre-construction campaign? Okay, so are you referring to in an email, Lena? Is that what you're referring to? If you are, I'll just quickly show. If not, then we'll go over that after. So in an email, if you're creating, whether you're doing it as a template or on an individual lead, because you can just do it as a template. If you're planning on sending it to multiple people, as it's for campaign, then yes, you probably want it as a template. Basically what you do is you just upload an image. You would upload an image, whatever it may be, put it in there. You can even create a GIF with it to make it fun and exciting for those people. It's like moving. And we'll just wait for this to finish its thing here. For whatever reason, it's taking its sweet old time. Come on, my goodness. There we go. So you can create a GIF, right? So a GIF, this is just an example of me uploading an image. This one just happened to be a GIF. Now, if I wanted to hyperlink this, you're just selecting it and then clicking on the chain link, okay? You put your URL of where you want them to go to get that information. And then the target, always do new window. You don't want it to take over the current screen that they're on. You want it to open up a new tab in their browser, especially if they're like on your website, clicking hyperlinks. You don't want your website to disappear. You want just a new window to open. So change it to that, and that's essentially how you do that. It's creating the hyperlink just by highlighting the image and doing it that way. So how would I, so Ravinder is saying, my question is how I would initiate an email to be sent with a free listing CMA. So if you're sending it to somebody specifically, you're just clicking on, well, that one won't work, clicking on their email, right? You're putting your email together, and then you do have that ability to attach it on here. That's where you would attach the file that you would want to include in there to be sent as your pre-listing CMA. If that, hope that helps. Brian is asking, can I send a BombBomb video from my CRM? Yeah, you can. So whether you're using BombBomb or like you've seen, I just added a GIF. So GIF, creating your own GIFs and linking it to your YouTube, Vimeo, Facebook, TikTok, whatever that you have those videos is a free alternate. The only downside is you'd have to go on YouTube to watch your views, whereas on the back end of BombBomb, it has a little bit more of a different interface. So entirely up to you. But what you can actually do, Brian, is when you get that video, that's a BombBomb video. And so let's say it's a generic video or not, right? If it's a generic video that you want to send to all your leads, then you create it as a template. You can include it as part of the campaign. Now, if it's a one-off and it's just you want to send, this person that BombBomb video, you can. So what you want to do is essentially send that email to yourself first. Okay, so when you send that email to yourself, you're getting it to your Google or whatever email inbox that you got, and then you're just copying the entire email. Okay, you're copying the entire email, and then you're pasting it. So all you have to do in here is then just do the short, like the command, Control V for pasting. All the hyperlinks will be there. The video will be there. The GIF, which is not a video, it's just the GIF, right? It'll be in there. The hyperlink will still be there. The only thing that you would need to do is use the short code of the agent's first name and or your signature, because that might not be in there, may or may not. But also the short code for the lead's name is what I meant to say, because BombBomb will use a different short code for that. So you'd want to do that. Now there is in the email section here, in the top right-hand corner, that question mark. So there's actually 2 tutorials. If you watch this one, just watching it right here, you can open it up into YouTube, of course. This one here will show you about creating your own GIFs, whether it's a picture or using a video, and how to link it all to create those movie or video-like emails. This one here, if you click this link here is going to show you essentially how to do it, embed your video from BombBomb specifically. Okay. So that's how you would do that. Let's just see here. And Bruce is saying, if I get a fake number, how to get them to put a real number? Making the phone number valid used to be the trick before, but it doesn't seem to work works the same. Yeah, everyone is different. It does work for some people. Some people just really, if they're not even trying to look at the listings, they could care less, right? You can't encourage, you can't twist their arm. You may have the bad number campaign. So if you don't, again, reach out to support. We can install the campaigns for you. So adding that, so the bad number campaign is a series of emails that is really used to assist you to try to get that lead to provide you with a valid phone number. is its ultimate goal. This one, I don't think this is the right one, but I'll just edit it just to see. So the first one, yeah, this one's like, I don't even know, everything got duplicated. So this one here is the oops, we got something wrong. So that's the first one we get that, you know, it's basically saying, is this the best number? This one here, I don't know what happened because I changed this sentence. Some people changed, someone changed it back. Because obviously if they entered 1, 2, 3, it makes us look pretty silly if we're asking if that's the best number to reach them on. Like clearly it is not the best number to reach them on. Yeah, I think I changed this. Like, I don't think phone number is your correct phone number. I think it's something like that. And then it goes like a valid number is required to continue to receive property listings. Letting them know you're human, basically. So it's just a series. Again, this got duplicated. So then a couple days later, same idea, right? Leads are responsive. Some of them are responsive to this and actually ask questions back when they do get that, or they give you a phone number, but say, hey, please don't call me on this. Like, I'm not ready. I don't want all these phone calls, right? So people are, you know, they do respond to these, you know, 100%. So that's your second form of, you know, trying to encourage them to give them that information. You can also leverage their activities. So if you have somebody in here that is, they'll show as being active if they try to look at the listing but get blocked, it's going to show that they, you know, try to open that, like they're active, they're not actually active. So you can kind of use that, right? So use that as, you know, if we go in here, for example, oh, this one's not active, so that's not a good example. So kind of looking at this, right, we have that information, right? Say, hey, you know, so either you're sending them an email specifically, just saying, hey, I noticed that you're trying to get into that listing for 245 Valley View. The system is actually blocking you. You know, you can say whatever you want to say because it doesn't recognize your number as being valid. Is there a number I can update your system to? I'd be happy to get you the information about that home. So you can kind of leverage and use different tactics if you have the time. You know, those people essentially, they're kind of at the, I have extra time today, let's see what I can make of it kind of people, right? Because we want to work on our top priority leads first, rather than dwelling on the ones that we can't communicate with, right? So leverage what you have and use it to your advantage. Don't dwell on what we don't have, right? Some of these people need us to show our efforts that we're willing to earn and work for that form of communication. Some people out there aren't willing to give out a phone number, willing to give out an email online. Some people, you know, they get so many calls and spam, they don't, you know, we're very cautious, some people. So we have to respect that and earn that business and let them, give them that reassurance that we're not going to be sitting here spamming you. We just want to make sure that everything is good on your end and be, you know, I call it the concierge to your real estate search. Whatever you need, I am here. Don't hesitate to call. Don't hesitate to ask. Yeah, so yeah, do try the bad number campaign. And of course you can mass assign that, right? So if you just pull up all your leads that are on the so the phone validity, right? So if you just pull up all your phone validity as being invalid, then you're going to have all your leads to be able to select all of them, and then you just mass assign them to the bad number campaign, right? So that's one way about it. But we are at time, and it's just almost like just in time. I'm pretty sure I got through all the questions that were in here. I'm pretty sure I did, which is great. Now, again, if you guys have any individual questions that weren't asked on here, or you need to get the answers to, just reach out by all means. I'd be happy to answer them for you. Often I put a little video together to kind of showcase you. Or if you guys have an assigned trainer, I might get them to do it. Just say, hey, can you reach out to so-and-so, put a little video and show them how to do this. They need some help. So they might do it if you guys have a trainer that would be able to do that. I would, depends on how many responses I get. I'm only one person. So doing that, but you guys are always welcome to more trainings. Most of you guys will have an assigned trainer. If you're not sure who that is, let me know. We can set you up with that. We want to see you all succeed in here at the end of the day. Building your business, growing your revenues, and ultimately being an agent locator customer for a long time. We're not here for quick turnarounds. We want to build lasting relationships, just like you would with any of your clients out there. So as much as you need help, just let us know. Just keep plugging away at it. Use your system, log your calls, put your notes in, and use your filters. If you can do that every single day and have just great conversations with people, you guys are going to be successful, hands down. And your conversion rates every year it's compounding, right? Because you're going to get a lot of leads in here that you talk to, and they're not going to be moving until next year, right? So it's just keeping those follow-ups and those check-ins going, and being amazing customer service rep and really helping these people. You'll see it explode at some point where everything just starts compounding. You're 1% plus 1% plus 1%, and then you might have to hire some more help for yourself. But any help that you guys need, feel free to reach out. We will be doing this again at 7 o'clock tonight. So if any of the answers that you had and you weren't able to ask or didn't think of, feel free to jump onto the later session as well if you wanted to, because it's all going to be different people, different questions for the most part. But have a great rest of your afternoon, everyone, and we will be in touch soon. Take care.